Well, yeah, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we're thankful for those of you who decided to join us here on our broadcast today. I'll make sure I can be seen. Oh, there I am. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so appreciate all those of you who decided to watch us here as we broadcast to you. For those who are watching us on Tuesday, we're broadcasting to you live from just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And for those of you who are watching on the replay, thank you, and thank you very much for watching us. It has been lots of fun lately at a little place called State Farm Arena. We're talking about the Atlanta Hawks and their surge on towards the playoffs here in 25 and 26. And the big question is, or really the statement, a lot of people are saying the Hawks have become a problem in the NBA. Those Atlanta Hawks, that's right. They are balling out right now, winners of 10 straight games. So I want to talk a little about the Atlanta Hawks. Also, what do you think about the Falcons? I don't know about you, but it looks, I don't know, I look at kind of the moves they're making. Everybody says, well, they're kind of filling out the roster, blase, blase. I don't know, man. I mean, it just seems like I don't know what they're doing. Maybe I'm not a good judge of talent. I don't know, but I'm not necessarily that excited about what they have been doing so far. And so I'd like to get your opinion about that. But first of all, we want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, which is Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. I think I had mentioned, let me get this mic closer so I can be heard. There we go. I think I've mentioned this before. Allen Vigil Ford is our title sponsor for this show. They're also our title sponsor for high school football. So we do that in the fall. So a big shout out to Allen Vigil Ford. And let's take a look and get a look at one of their commercials right now. If you want to buy a car, remember, go to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln. Check them out.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
That's right, guys. Check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln. Like I said, I am a salesperson there. So if I should actually be a commercial account manager is what I am there. So if you need a vehicle for yourself or for your family, please give me a call, 678-364-3979. Love to help you or your family if they need a vehicle. Let's go to social media. What's up? That's I don't know. Anyway, how we doing? Thank you for joining the broadcast there on YouTube. We appreciate you. Like I said, guys, lots of stuff going on in the world of sports, especially for the Atlanta Hawks. Like I said again, the Hawks have now become a problem officially in the NBA. Hawks surging. Let me say it again. Hawks are surging, winners of 10 straight. Now I will tell you, as when they won their first 9 in a row, which is nothing to sneeze at, I said, well, I'm not sure. I mean, because they played a lot of bad teams, and you expect them to beat bad teams, especially if you're a good team. And so the Hawks, made hay. They beat, teams like the Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks, and other teams that were, I don't really kind of call them bottom feeders, and they beat the brakes off them, which was a good sign for me because one of the things that you can tell if your team is good is they beat the bad teams badly, and so the Hawks started doing that. But the game last night, a game that was steeped in controversy because they originally had tied this game to a salute to Magic City, which for those of you who are not from Atlanta, that's a strip club. And they said it's all about the culture. I'm not sure what kind of culture you're promoting, but anyway, uh, they had all these hoodies made up, and it was still a packed house because they were serving one of the things the place is known for, besides beautiful women dancing scantily clad. They're also known for the food is supposed to be pretty good. Now, I don't know. This is what I heard. And one of the things that they are known for are lemon pepper wings. And what really kind of put them on the map about these wings is that a Hawks player during the pandemic, when he was kind of missing in action, they said, "Where were you?" He said, "I went down to Magic City to get some wings because I was hungry." Not always hungry for, but allegedly. He was hungry, and they had the wings, which are now named after him, the Lou's lemon pepper wings. But allegedly, they're pretty good. Everybody's saying they're really outstanding. As a matter of fact, I had a fellow employee tell me that he didn't want to wait in line at the game, so he went to the actual establishment to get the wings, allegedly just for the wings. Just saying. All right, like I said again, the Hawks are balling out. They are really performing at a very, very high level. Winners of 10 straight. And last night, to me, was a barometer and an indicator that the Hawks are really, like I said again, going to be a team that is trouble. Last night, they played the Orlando Magic, who, like the Hawks, were rolling. They had won 8 of their last 10 and found themselves at the time in, I believe it was, let's go back to it. I believe they were in 6th place. Let's take a look here at the standings. Let's go to this right here. Bam! Look at the standings before the game. Yes, the Magics were actually in 6th place, and the Hawks were languishing. I hate to say this word, but they were languishing in 9th place. But because the Eastern Conference is being tightly contested from positions 5 through 10, the Hawks found themselves just 2.5 games out of the 6th place marker behind the Orlando Magic. But like I say again, we're 8-2 coming into that over the last 10 games. But Hawks, like I said again, they were 9-1 coming into their last 10, and the Hawks, like I said, balled out, winning 124-112 over the Magic. And I will tell you that score really is not indicative of the game. The Hawks were at one point up by 30 points late in the second half of that ball game before the Heat did something that they are known for. They're one of the best NBA teams in terms of coming back from double-digit deficits to win games. The Hawks said we're having none of that. Like I said, going up for as much as 30 and winning the game 124-112. And the other thing about this game, this was the Hawks, I believe, their 8th straight win at home. A place where the Hawks had not been playing that well going into this win streak. Matter of fact, they were 4 games under 500 and now 2 games over 500 after this 10-game win streak. Let's take a look at the stats here. Hawks have a guy that is right now many people considering to be a potential All-NBA pick. Not necessarily sure about that, but nevertheless, he is a stat stuffer. This man has rung up another triple-double. He's amongst the lead leaders. I believe he's in the top 3 in the league. Last night, in 37 minutes, 24 points, 10 of 19 from the floor, 15 rebounds, and 13 assists. So you got a guy who's a forward, technically like your power forward, and he is leading the team in assists. Matter of fact, he leads the Hawks in every category. Leads the Hawks in scoring, leads the Hawks in rebounding, and leads them in assists. And like I said, again, that stat line is just, I mean, you got to be kidding me. 24 points, again, 15 rebounds, and more importantly, 13 assists, and shooting 50% from the floor. I don't know if it can get too much better than that. But believe it or not, he was not the driving force that caused the Hawks to win this game. The driving force was a guy who is is the best Hawk free agent signing since over a decade ago. They signed Joe Johnson. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, first cousin of the reigning NBA MVP SGA. I can't pronounce his name. All I know is it's something Sergius Gilgeous-Alexander. Well, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is his cousin. And last night he looked like SGA. In his 37 minutes, he was unstoppable. 41 points, including 9 3-pointers. And he also had 7 rebounds and 5 assists to lead the Hawks to victory. He was just unstoppable, especially in the second half as the Hawks ballooned their lead out to 30 points. He was just bombing and raining threes at it. Like you said, 9 of 14 from 3. That's insane. That's like shooting 66% from 3. Just incredible performance by him. Like I said, 9 of 14 from 3-point range. I tell you how incredible it was. He was 9 of 14 from 3, but he was only 3 of 7 from 2. That's how he was just bombing away out there from 3-point range. Just like I said, incredible performance by Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He has been averaging over 20 points a game for the Hawks. And really, as much as Jalen Johnson is kind of the guy, he made the All-Star team, as far as in clutch moments, getting those big baskets, Nickeil Alexander-Walker has really been the guy. He's been the guy. He's been that last-minute clutch performer, And like I said last night, when the Hawks really needed to make a statement, not only to the Magic, but to themselves. Hey, we are not just a ball club that's winning, beating bottom feeders. We are now a bona fide contender and someone to be reckoned with in the playoffs. And oh, by the way, because of that, because they were able to win this game, they now find themselves just one game behind the Magic, a game and a half behind the Magic to move into fifth place. You hear me right, guys. The Hawks, if they can continue to win at this rate and the Magic even play around 500, the Hawks will now find themselves in fifth place. At the very worst, sixth place, because they're literally a game and a half behind the Raptors as well, because the Raptors and the Magic are tied for fifth and sixth. And they're just one game behind the Heat. Now, the problem is if they tie the Heat have the edge over them in the tiebreaker. But this Hawks team has been stout. You know what the crazy thing is? The biggest area where they have been the toughest during the streak has been the fact that they are one of the best defensive teams in the league. I want a big shout out to on social media. Hola, that's I think Megatron 2210. Unfortunately, I do not speak Spanish. I guess that's Spanish or possibly Portuguese. But appreciate you, man, for tuning in to join us. And again, thanks to all of those of you who tune in to join us as well. Like I said, the Hawks are on a tear, but they need to continue to do this if they want to get out of the playing round. Because like I said, again, the East is bunched so close together. Let me give an example. The Hornets, who are in 10th place, who ironically have had their way against the Hawks all year long, they are just 3 games behind the Hawks, who are in 8th place. The 76ers, who are in 9th place, are just, matter of fact, they're really in a virtual tie with the Hawks, but the Hawks own the tiebreaker over the 76ers. So the crazy thing, even though the Hawks are 10-0, and even though they find themselves just a game out of 5th place, they're only a game out of 9th place and only 3 games out of 10th place. Hawks need to keep winning. I think if they can continue to at least play here, here's how it looks. At 37-31, the Hawks have 14 games left to play. For me, I'd originally thought, hey, man, if the Hawks can find themselves 14-6 or the last 20 games would be great. Right now, I'm thinking the Hawks really need to be over their last 14 games, no worse than 9-5. No worse than that. Let me see if I got my math right here. So 37-31, 67 games. They have 82 games to play. Yeah. So if they can be no worse than 9-6, 46 and 36, something. Oh, excuse me, something like that. So I was right, 9-5. I think this Hawks team has a very, very good shot to be one of the top 6 teams, stay out of the playing round. So they're going to have to continue to win at a pretty high rate. Like I said, 9 of their last 14. If they can do that, I think they'll be able to get up there. Now, here's the problem. The Hawks schedule for the rest of the year of those 14 games, I think 6 of them are playing against the top 4 teams, the Pistons, the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Cavaliers. But good news is Pistons have only played 500 their last 10 games. Cavaliers, 500 their last 10 games. Knicks and the Celtics, however, they have won, both of them won 7 of their last 10, including winning streaks of 2 for the Celtics and 3 for the Knicks. But like I said, again, the Hawks have played the Celtics very well. Matter of fact, one of the things I believe that gave the Hawks impetus to trade Trae Young is that without Trae Young, the New York Knicks, the Hawks went up to Boston and beat the Celtics in Boston. And I think with this team they have now, a team that's relying a lot more on defense, a team that is able to match up extremely well at virtually every position. I think at the end of the day, man, this Hawks team is going to be something to be reckoned with as we move into postseason. All righty. We're going to take another quick little break, and we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere.
This is Patrick Willis, and this is Real Talk Sports.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
All right, we're back here. You're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. I am your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. And again, we thank God for all of you who decided to join us here on this broadcast, whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us on Facebook, or there's some of you watching me on Twitch. So appreciate you young guys for doing that. But remember, no matter how you're watching, remember to do two things: to follow us on all social media platforms at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. And sorry, I don't have the updated X moniker there, but follow us there even on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter that much, but please follow us on social media. We'd love to have you do that. And of course, if you're following us on YouTube, you know what to do. Subscribe, and subscribe. Hit that magic bell, bing, and it'll notify you anytime the Real Talk Sports Show is on the air. Now, one of the things I do besides our little mini podcast that we do on Tuesday nights, I'm usually at the Hawks game or at some other live event. I usually try to bring you a pregame, halftime, and post-game wrap up. So please, if you want to kind of see your boy on the court, check me out. I'm right there in the middle of it, and I'm representing you. I'm like your guy. You can say, I know that guy. That's right. That's me. You can come and check me out right there. But like I said, again, if you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe. And subscribe. Like I said, guys, the big theme was today, the Hawks balling out. And so my next question is the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think about the Atlanta Falcons making moves? So one of the moves that that the Falcons have made is that the quarterback position. They have quarterback Michael Penix Jr., a guy who was drafted number 8 overall by the previous regime of Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot. I watched the guy at Washington. I thought he was a baller. I thought that this was a guy that was one of the better quarterbacks in college football when he played. Great arm, especially on the long ball, deft touch. And I thought he was a gamer. You know, he played very well at Indiana before he got injured, and did very well at Washington, brought them into college football playoffs. And unfortunately, he got steamrolled by a very, very good Michigan team who eventually won the national title. You know, they just his offensive line could not hold up. Running attack was not as good as he was hoped. So, you know, he just didn't show out there. But he has had some injury problems. And so one of the things that is going on right now, he's injured. He has severe leg injury. And now, in fact, he is almost kind of like Kirk Cousins was before. He's going to have to come back almost a year worth of rehab. And so the Falcons, very smartly so, said, we're not getting caught out anymore. We're going to make sure we have a serviceable quarterback to join us. Now, they decided to pick Tua Tagovailoa. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. To be kind of the de facto quarterback until Michael Penix gets well, or they're going to have a quarterback kind of showdown here, battle for who's going to start. The only problem I have with the Tua, well, let's do it this way. What are the good points about that? Well, one of the things is that is showing Michael Penix Jr. that the Falcons still basically believe in him. You say, why do you say that? Because with Tua, a guy that's known to be injury prone, kind of fragile, and number 2, he's left-handed, just like Michael Penix Jr. And it's already been proven. Many NFL receivers have said that they always have to make a transition going from right hand to left hand because the ball spins in the opposite direction. So to me, that's kind of a sign to Michael Penix Jr. that, hey, we still think you're our guy. We're bringing a left-hander here that, you know, his game is kind of similar. Accurate, can throw a pretty good deep ball. And like I said, he's left-handed. Now, the negatives about that is the Falcons now have probably the most fragile quarterback room in all the NFL. You got 2 guys that basically, now we know that any player in the NFL is 1 play away from not being in the league. We get it. We have 2 guys that have a history of severe injuries. And with Tua, you got a guy that basically, you know, kind of run on the edge of life-threatening injury. This is a guy that had a concussion that, I mean, literally locked up on the field to the point where you were saying, uh-oh, you know, kind of had to, you know, freeze out, you know, from an injury. And he's had multiple cases of this where literally 1 more concussion could technically kill him. And this is a guy that you got to be kind of Michael Penix hold the spot. Now, the question I have is, do you guys think that's the best move? Because you had quarterbacks out there such as Kyler Murray. Now, I know Kyler Murray kind of flamed out a bit in Arizona, but this is a guy that when he's on top of his game was probably one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league, a guy that had been a Pro Bowler, a guy that's very elusive, which is great when you think about a team like the Falcons who, you know, can run the ball extremely well. And a guy that where the RPO option with a guy like Bijan Robinson, you think would be an electric combination for any offense. They decided for whatever reason not to bring in Kyler Murray. Now, I don't know if Kyler Murray is the best teammate. There's some rumbling about that. I'm not sure. They also decided not to bring in veteran quarterback Russell Wilson, a guy who's obviously his wheels are nowhere like they were 8-9 years ago when he was in his prime, even 5-6 years ago when he was still, kind of let Russ cook. I get it. They didn't bring him in. They could have brought him in very, very cheaply. They didn't bring in Joe Flacco, a guy who, although he's 40, a couple of years ago got the Browns to the playoff and is familiar with the new head coach, Kevin Stefanski. Didn't bring him in either. So on those regards, you kind of wonder, what are the Falcons thinking in terms of this? Well, I tell you, the rest of the league is thinking, they're not so sharp. That's what the rest of the league is thinking. Let's go here and take a look to now here's something funny here. Here we go. Now, John Connor, 4330 says, Browns just traded Shedeur Sanders to Atlanta for Bijan Robinson. Well, yeah, that really didn't happen, guys. Just saying. And it's funny. He said, John Connor, I think about the Terminator. We're rapidly moving towards that. These people that we have running our government trying to actually have the government have access to an AI that would allow the Pentagon to make robots, basically an army of killer robots that will be able to operate without human intervention or some people. But, it's all been predicted. This is all kind of the end game. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Let's take a look at what some of the rest of the players rest of the people around the league are saying about the Falcons and their moves. Let's hear. MSN says this headline: NFL executive blasts Falcons Kevin Stefanski for latest quarterback decision. Well, let's see what he decided. Let's take a peek here. This is what the headline says here. It says let's see here. It says, last week, the Falcons signed the former Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to provide some competition for Penix over the starting gig. New general manager Ian Cunningham told the media that the Falcons have no designated starter for week one. For Tua coming in here, he knows he's coming in to compete, just like Michael knows that he's coming in to compete, Cunningham said in NFL media. He said, there are no starters right now. We're excited to have Tua, but we're excited to have all the players that we're able to get in the free agent class. Now, clearly, as you can see, this was kind of what we call it clickbait. There's no real mention of Coach Stefanski. This was, like I said, just a clickbait thing, and they got me. So let's go on and continue to read here where they have his picture here. It says the new brain trust of Falcons president of football operations, Matt Ryan, former All-Pro quarterback, head coach Kevin Stefanski, and Cunningham ultimately agreed and bring in Tagovailoa. However, outside of Atlanta, the move is being criticized. Sportsboom says there's been a universal pan around the league for the quarterback signing. Compounded with this decision to sign Tua, the Falcons also moved on for veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins. And it says that most executives think that Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Tua. Said Kevin's a sharp guy, but this doesn't add up. Another quote: seriously, I'm a loss. Would I have just kept Cousins? I know he wants to be paid a lot more than $1 million, but I would have. He said, look, I didn't like Tua coming out of college into the NFL draft. Another general manager says that Cousins does a better job of pushing the ball downfield and mastering play action, and Tua didn't even run that kind of play. But look, at the end of the day, Stefanski has had quarterback problems before, so we'll see. And like I said, Matt Ryan played for the Falcons, so he kind of knows, what is needed here in Atlanta. They have a run-heavy attack, so we shall see. But like I said, again, so far, I'm not that excited about the moves that the Falcons are making. And one last thing before I get out of here, evidently a former Falcon, a little bit disgruntled. Just kind of read what it has to say about that. Let me get back to and pull this headline out real quick before they get on out of here. as a Falcons player. Took a little shot, but I cannot find that right now. I'm so sorry, boys and girls. I can't find that headline. They took it down. So I guess here we go. There's another headline. It says Tua's wife put on a show. Here is his wife, Anna, I guess, was in a Falcons uniform. You guys can look at that yourself. I don't even know why I click on this clickbait here on MSN. But at the end of the day, like I say again, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Falcons do with Tua. Can he stay healthy? That's going to be the big key. And then hopefully Michael Penix will come back very, very quickly because he's an outstanding quarterback with great potential. So we will see what's going on. Oh my gosh! One last thing. They said the Falcons have a little problem here with their wide receiver. They just signed a wide receiver from the Eagles, Johan Dotson's from the Eagles. Little mediocre, so to speak. So we'll see how he pans out. Like I said, again, a lot of these picks that the Falcons made, I'm not quite sure. Another thing I'm not quite sure about is why I'm so sleepy as I try to do this show. Anyway, we got to go. I will say hello here to who we have there. Yane Tazamaruri Pa. I don't know what that is. Anyway, thank you for joining our broadcast. All right, guys. Before I get out of here, I always like to let everybody know if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, that's something you really need to do. I'm a big sports fan, but I'm also a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka Yeshua HaMashiach. This world is going bonkers. And you got to know God. The only way you can do that is through his son, Jesus Christ. So I would implore you, here's how to do it. It's really easy. Number one, repent of your sins. Don't trip. Everybody's a sinner. The Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Believe they died for your sins and rose from the dead. Two great things happen if you do. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means you can now go to God like a heavenly parent, ask him for anything that you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And when you die, to go to that wonderful, happy, spectacular, beautiful place called heaven. There's none of the following: no pain, no pandemic. You never get old, you never cry, you never die. You avoid that nasty place called hell, where it is just terrible. It's going to be fiery. It's going to be horrible. You're locked in with the devil and all his demonic hosts forever and a day. And you're cut off from Jesus Christ and God and all the people of love. I don't know about you, but like option number one instead of option number two. All right, everybody. Until the next time we get back together again, we simply say God bless you and have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, whichever may apply. So long and take care. See you.